There's a difference between being stalled and being summoned. But in the silence of delay, it's hard to tell. You're not just tired, you're tired of being tired. Of holding space for something that hasn't come. Of trying to believe in timing that never seems to arrive. The world sees waiting as weakness, but heaven sees it as formation. You didn't miss it. You're not late. You're not being punished or overlooked. You're being positioned, silently, intentionally, by hands that still remember the shape of your future. There are seasons when movement is loud, and seasons when it's invisible. This is the invisible kind, not absent, not void, just beneath the surface, where roots deepen before anything blooms. And maybe part of you has already started to believe the silence, that heaven has grown quiet, that the wait means forgotten. But hear this, even now, heaven hasn't stopped watching you. The call didn't end, it shifted. You're not stuck. You're standing on holy ground, between what was promised and what is being prepared. So if your soul is restless, if the ache feels deeper than words, stay, just for a moment, because this isn't just waiting, it's a divine invitation, an invisible turning, a whisper you were meant to hear, and it begins right here. It's not just exhaustion, it's something heavier, a sacred ache that never fully leaves. You carry things others don't see, questions that return at night, prayers whispered into pillows, longings too fragile to speak aloud. You've held on this long, and maybe no one has ever told you. That's not weakness. It's a mark. Not of punishment, but of preparation. There's a kind of weight only the called carry. It doesn't come from striving. It comes from being chosen. And that's why it's so hard to explain. Why you feel out of place even in familiar rooms. Why the delay feels personal. Why your soul feels stretched between what island and what should be. You weren't meant to fit in. You were meant to be set apart. And heaven has marked you for something that requires the wait. Because strength forged in silence lasts, and hearts trained in hiddenness can carry glory without breaking. So if you've ever wondered why your road feels longer, why others seem to move while you wait, why the promise lingers just out of reach, know this: you're not forgotten. You're favored in a way the world doesn't yet understand. And this wait, it's not random. It's holy. If this found you right on time, if something inside you whispered, "Finally," then you're not alone. This space was created for you, to remind you who you are, to walk with you as you wait. Stay close with us at Calm Called, so when the next whisper of peace comes, it finds you ready to receive it. Subscribe now, and let's walk this unfolding together. There are days when waiting doesn't just feel long, it feels final. Like the door didn't just stay closed, it was slammed. Hard, loud, unmistakable. You prayed, you prepared, you believed, and still the silence came. The opportunity vanished. The answer never arrived. What do you do when heaven's no feels louder than your faith? It's easy to wonder if you got it wrong. Maybe you misread the signs. Maybe you expected too much. Maybe the door was never meant to open. But before you collapse into doubt, consider this. What if the door didn't close to reject you, but to redirect you? Sometimes, what feels like denial is actually protection from something your heart couldn't yet see. Sometimes, heaven slams a door to save you from what would have broken you. And other times, it's not a no at all. It's a not yet, wrapped in mercy. You are not disqualified. You are not forgotten. You are still part of the plan. And that ache in your chest, 5, that grief over what never happened, that is the holy space where trust begins again. So don't turn away just yet. Don't label the delay as defeat. There's something you can't see yet, something already in motion. What if this moment right now is the shift you didn't expect? What if the slam door wasn't an ending, but the start of something sacred? There is a kind of work that leaves no evidence, no spotlight, no applause, just obedience in the dark. While the world celebrates what's visible, heaven honors what's hidden. And right now, that might be exactly where you are. You've kept showing up quietly, kept loving when it cost you, kept praying when no one else knew, kept trusting even with trembling hands. You haven't been lazy, you've been faithful, but because your growth hasn't been loud, you've wondered if it even counts. Hear this. God is not ignoring your unseen obedience. He's shaping something eternal with it. The kingdom doesn't move like the world. It honors hiddenness. It values what's done in secret. It builds from the inside out. And sometimes, the greatest spiritual progress looks like stillness on the outside, while inside, you're being remade. Like clay on a wheel, you feel spun, pressed, stretched. But the potter isn't careless. He sees the final shape before you ever do. And here's the truth. If you were truly forgotten, you wouldn't feel this tension. The ache is evidence that heaven is still crafting something holy in you. But it takes time. Real transformation always does. The kind that lasts, it can't be rushed. So don't resent the silence. Don't despise the small days. Every hidden act of faith, every time you choose surrender over self, is building a foundation strong enough to hold the weight of your calling. And one day, what's been growing in secret will stand in the open. But until then, trust the invisible work. It's not wasted. It's sacred. There's a sacred difference between being forgotten and being hidden. One is abandonment. The other is preparation. And the enemy would love for you to confuse the two, to whisper that God has moved on, that your time passed, that your prayers were archived and forgotten. But heaven never misplaces a soul, and your name is not lost in the shuffle. You've been hidden on purpose. God hides what he values, like a seed in soil, like oil in stone, like treasure in a field. What's concealed is often what's most sacred. Being hidden doesn't mean nothing is happening. It means the timeline is divine, not yours. The appointed time is real, and when it comes, nothing will stop it. This isn't delay without design. It's alignment. He's not just preparing you. He's preparing the place, the people, the moment. It's all being woven behind scenes you'll never see. So, if you feel invisible, if your gifts seem unused, if your spirit is whispering, when? Breathe. You're not being punished. You're being timed. Scripture is full of people who were hidden before they were revealed. David was anointed, but returned to tend sheep. Moses was called, but spent decades in the desert. Even Jesus, before the miracles, lived in quiet obedience. You're in good company. Heaven doesn't rush what it intends to sustain. And if your release hasn't come yet, it's not because you're forgotten. It's because your moment is too important to arrive too soon. So today, let this truth anchor you. You are not behind. You are not unseen. You are right on heaven's time. And when it comes, when the veil lifts, when the door opens, when the fullness arrives, you'll see that every silent hour was sacred. Every quiet day was counted. Every hidden moment was holy. There comes a moment in every waiting season, IF 05, when the weight shifts, not because the answer arrives, but because your vision does. You begin to see differently. You begin to feel the shift beneath the silence. It's subtle, almost imperceptible, but it's real. This is that moment. What once felt like punishment now begins to look like protection. What felt like delay starts to reveal itself as direction. Not everything is supposed to happen fast. Some things are too sacred to be rushed. Some callings require you to walk through stillness until you learn to hear what noise drowns out. The pivot doesn't happen in the world around you. It happens in your inner posture. It's when you stop asking, "Why not yet?" and start whispering, "What are you forming in me?" That shift changes everything. It softens your resistance. It rewrites the story. It transforms your waiting from passive delay into active surrender. Think of a compass, always pointing even when the traveler is still. This moment, right here, is your internal compass realigning, not just to the direction, but to the one guiding it. There's a reason your heart is still tender, a reason the ache hasn't hardened you. You're being refined, not rejected. This is your spiritual turning point, and it rarely announces itself with fireworks. It arrives in stillness, in quiet recognition, in the whispered yes, when you don't have proof, just peace. That's what heaven honors. That's what signals you're ready. So breathe here. Mark this moment. Something just shifted, not out there, but in you. And that may be the sign you've been unknowingly waiting for. The cycle is familiar. You wait, you hope, you begin to doubt, you numb, you start again. But what if the breakthrough isn't in the next open door, but in the next question you ask? There's a question that doesn't just invite clarity. It shatters the loop. It calls your soul out of survival and into surrender. It's not, "When will it happen?" It's, "What is this silence trying to show me?" Because waiting isn't wasted. It's a teacher. And beneath the frustration, God is always extending an invitation. What if the delay is revealing something deeper than timing? What if it's exposing where trust still has conditions, where your faith still depends on outcomes? Hard questions, yes, but healing ones, because heaven doesn't ask questions to shame you, only to awaken you. So here's another. Are you waiting in fear or expecting in faith? Fear waits for disappointment. Faith waits for fulfillment. Fear braces for heartbreak. Faith makes room for the miracle. You don't need more strategies. You need one sacred pause to realign your posture. Let this be that pause. Let this moment be where the old pattern loses its grip. No more performing for worth. No more striving for divine approval. No more bargaining with your prayers. Just stillness and surrender and one holy question that breaks the loop. Lord, how are you trying to meet me here? When you start asking that, everything changes. Not always the outside, but always the inside. So if the pattern has felt endless, if you're weary of waiting for something to change, start with your question. It holds more power than you know. The world moves fast, but your soul doesn't. There's a rhythm you were created for, not of hustle or urgency, but of alignment and peace. It's not a tempo you master. It's a flow you return to. And maybe that's why everything feels off. You've been trying to match the world's pace when you were made to move with heaven. Think of a river. It never rushes, but it always moves. It bends, it deepens, it flows around obstacles. It trusts the source. That's the rhythm of the Spirit. And you haven't lost it. You've just been out of sync. But here's the good news. You can return. Right now. Not by doing more, but by doing less. By listening again. By resting into the arms that never dropped you. Because waiting isn't just about patience. It's about alignment. Letting your heart beat in time with divine timing. And when you realign, peace comes rushing back. Not because circumstances change, but because you do. You stop forcing. You start flowing. You move from panic to presence. And slowly, you remember who you are. Not the version of you that performs. Not the one who tries to earn rest. But the true one, beloved, chosen, held. This rhythm isn't new. It's the one you were born with. Before the noise. Before the pressure. Before the hurry. It's the rhythm of grace. The tempo of trust. And heaven is always in tempo. Never early, never late. So come back to it. Even now, even tired, even unsure. Let go of the rush and receive the rhythm that's been waiting for you. There's a silence that doesn't feel peaceful. It feels heavy, thick, endless. Like your prayers are echoing in a room God has left. Like nothing is moving, nothing is changing, nothing is coming. But stillness and stagnation are not the same. And silence is not the absence of activity. It's often the cover for something sacred. Think of a womb. No sound, no movement you can see. But within it, life is forming. Or a seed beneath the earth. Not forgotten, just hidden, working in silence where eyes can't reach. That's what this season is like. It feels empty, but it's full of unseen movement. God moves differently than we expect. He speaks in ways that require stillness to discern. And often, He does His deepest work when we think He's furthest away. So if it's quiet, don't rush to fill it. Don't interpret it as distance. Don't assume nothing is happening. It may be that heaven is holding its breath before the breakthrough. It may be that the silence is creating space for your roots to go deeper, or preparing others connected to your calling, or stretching your spirit to receive more than you ever asked for. Silence doesn't mean God is still. It often means He's focused. And trust this, even when you feel alone, you are not abandoned. You are not ignored. You are seen. He is closer than the breath you just took. He is working through layers you don't yet understand. So stay faithful in the quiet. Speak even when you don't feel heard. Rest even when nothing changes. Because eventually, the silence breaks. And when it does, you'll realize God was never inactive. He was just deeper than sound. You've been searching, waiting for confirmation, hoping for a sign clear enough to silence the doubt. But here's a truth most people never say out loud. You already know. Not in your mind, but deeper, in your spirit, in the quiet place that still remembers God's voice. Because the Spirit doesn't only speak through visions or prophets, He whispers through your own soul. That nudge, that unrest, that sense that you were made for more, that's not your imagination. It's revelation in seed form, and it's been growing in you, even when you didn't have the words. You've doubted it because it's subtle. You've second-guessed it because no one else sees it. But the absence of validation doesn't mean the absence of truth. God often confirms inwardly, long before anything appears outwardly, because He wants you to walk by faith, not applause. So pause, breathe, close your eyes if you need to. What do you know? Beneath the noise, beneath the fear, what truth has never fully left you, even in the hardest nights? That knowing. 3. It's your anchor. It's the thread of alignment, pulling you back to the path you were born to walk. This doesn't mean you'll never doubt again, but now your doubt won't define you. Your inner witness will, because what God plants in your spirit, no delay can uproot. And if you've been waiting for a voice to confirm what you feel, let this be it. You're not crazy. You're not overreaching. You're hearing correctly. You already know, because the one who called you placed the confirmation inside you long ago. This is where it all begins to make sense. Not because the wait is over, but because you're finally seeing the purpose beneath it. The delays, they weren't punishments. They were reroutes. Heaven's way of rethreading the path, so it could hold more glory than you imagined. You thought you lost time. You didn't. You were being repositioned, shifted out of harm, lifted out of wrong alignments, placed exactly where glory could grow. Think of a tapestry. From the back, it looks like chaos. Loose threads, tangled patterns, colors that don't connect. But when the master turns it around, you see beauty that couldn't exist without every strand. That's your life, and every delay is a thread, pulled on purpose, woven with precision. God never wastes what you waited for. He doesn't discard the longing. He reroutes it, redirects it towards something that carries more weight, more legacy, more reflection of His goodness. So if you're standing in the middle, unsure if it's all been for something, hear this. It has. Every pause, every closed door, every silent night, they've been building towards something holy, not just for you, but for everyone connected to your obedience. Because your story isn't just about your blessing, it's about the breakthrough that will ripple from it. And when God does release it, when the fulfillment comes, You'll know it didn't arrive despite the delays, but through them. So let the reroute become your praise. Let the waiting become your testimony. Let this moment become your yes to a path only heaven could write. You didn't miss it. You're being woven into glory. Some don't stay. They grow weary. They choose noise over stillness, control over trust. But you stayed. Through the silence, through the ache, through the doors that didn't open, and the prayers that didn't come quickly. You stayed with trembling faith, with weary hope, with a heart that broke, but kept turning toward God anyway. This is for you, a blessing for the brave. May the weight that once wore you down now become the altar where peace finds you. May every invisible act of obedience be honored in the open, not because you need to be seen, but because heaven delights in rewarding what was sown in secret. May the silence that once haunted you become sacred again, not empty but full of presence, not heavy but holy. May you hear again the voice that first called your name, not in thunder, but in the whisper that says, I never left you. You were not forgotten. You were being entrusted, and every step you took in the dark was seen by light itself. Even now, heaven leans toward your faith. Even now, the soil under your feet remembers the seeds you planted in tears. They will rise in time, in grace, in glory. So breathe, beloved. Your faith has not been in vain. Your staying mattered. And your heart, though bruised, has made room for miracles. Now walk gently, walk slowly, but keep walking, because this unfolding isn't over. And when the next whisper comes, may you be so aligned, so at rest, that you hear it clearly and know it was always meant for you. You've made it this far. Let grace carry you forward. Let peace walk beside you. Let love finally feel safe to stay. And if this space has spoken to your soul, if you felt seen, held, or even softened, stay close with us at Calm Called. Subscribe now, so when the next sacred moment finds you, you'll be right where you need to be, ready to receive it.